Καλημέρα σας και ξανά χρόνια σας πολλά. Είχα την ευκαιρία την Παρασκευή να είμαι μαζί σας, όπως είχαμε την εορτή της Εκκλησίας, όπως και ξεκινήσατε με το φεστιβάλ. Αλλά επειδή ήταν Παρασκευή δεν είχα την ευκαιρία να φάω κάτι εκεί. Έμεινε κάπως νηστικός. Λίγη σαλάτα έφαγα. Σήμερα θα κάνω κάτι διαφορετικό. It's a joy to see you today. I was here with you on your feast day on Friday, and to be again here with you today as we celebrate this great feast of your parish, to enjoy a little bit the fellowship, not just in the church, but in the festival. I indicated in Greek that I was here on Friday, and Friday was not a meat-eating day for the bishop. So I had some salad and some cheese. I did have some cheese. Today, however, I'm going to have a shish kebab, if Father Michael permits, and if it's not made of soy. That's a joke. Μην ανησυχείτε. Εγώ τρώω το σόι επίσης, το έχω μάθει από τον Πάτερ. Μην νομίζετε, γιατί ο καθένας πρέπει να μάθει κάτι περισσότερο. I wanted to speak for a minute on the reality of how we focus and what we look for as the basic foundational structure of who we are. Hey, Justin, come on. He's okay, Presbyter. Sit down, Presbyter, sit down. He knows his way in the church. He's fine. Θα βρει και τελικά το δρόμο στην Αγία Τράπεζα. He will eventually find, Presbyter, the way into the Holy Table. And that's a different story. His uncle will be there ahead of him. What is it that is at the heart and core of who we are and how we understand ourselves? Πώς καταλαβαίνουμε τον εαυτό μας? It's part of the basic issue that once we resolve it, we are able to set a path and a course for our life, but we can't do it until we know what is at the core of our being. Many people, commonly having been taken in, as we at times all are by the world, find that the core and the purpose of their life is to make money. That's the job. I'm going to make money. I'm going to have the biggest house. I'm going to have all of these things. Some people place objects at the core of their life. And they define themselves not by who they are, but by what they have, something very different. I have 2 cars, I have 5 cars, έχω εγώ πολλά, εσύ έχεις λίγα, εγώ πρέπει να είμαι κάτι καλύτερος από σένα. Μερικοί αυτή την εντύπωση έχουν. Other people have another core in their life. And the core that they have, perhaps it's their intelligence, alleged or real. It is always an issue, you know. Για μερικούς το θέμα είναι τη γνώση που έχουν. Και αν αληθεύει αυτό ότι είναι επιστήμονες και έχουν γνώση ή όχι. Μπορεί να είναι μια προσωπική ιδέα τους. Αλλά ακόμα νομίζουν ότι από εκεί ξεκινάει το παν. Some people think that if it's not money for them, it is their intelligence. They may not have as much money, but they are smarter than you. We have people like that. Other people think in different terms. And it can be whatever thing or idea that you want to put at the heart of who and what we are, people can put that. But today, we heard in our epistle reading that we have an important and a different core. The core of who we are, Mr. Randall Jr., is what? Yes, you do know. You heard it today. I'm going to remind you. We are the temple of God. the temple of the living God. Our basic form and foundation as Christians comes from this reality that we are not measured by other things. We are ultimately seen and understood and measured by God's love for us, a love that is so great that He dwells in those who call upon His name. Our core, if you want to deal with presidential elections, you can say our core value is that we are people of God. Στην ουσία αυτό που είμαστε εμείς είναι ναός Θεού. We are the temple of the living God. And if we have accepted that as part of our core belief, if we have come to that, if we've been able to give up all of those other things, because in order to understand that ultimately you give up all of the other things as being primarily important. This does not mean that a person who has God as their center and their core may not have money. It means that money is separate. It's a different issue. It's a secondary issue. It may be seen as a blessing and it may be seen as a curse. Those of you who have dreamed, occasionally I have been with you, of winning the lottery, but I don't play, have found that virtually all of the people who win those big millions of dollars, within 5 years, they are bankrupt, they're disheveled, at times they are homeless. Why? Because they thought money was a solution and it became for them a curse. We have to understand what our core is. And if our core is this fact that God so loved us and He created this world, and not only did He create this world, but He created us. If that's at our core, and not only did He create us, but He dwells in us, we are His temple, then it talks to us about how we must live and what we must do as people. It talks to us about how we interpret the world, because we cannot see it in terms of dollars and cents, but we must see it in terms of God's love. And then the picture changes. When we look at the world as this gift from God, for us to be good stewards because of His love for us, when we understand ourselves not to be kings and emperors on our own, but to be raised up as children, royal children of God Himself, then we accept our calling with graciousness and with dignity, and not with arrogance and pride and haughtiness. What is it that we look at to make the basic understanding of who we are? If you and I look at other things, we will be ultimately lost. We will be like Peter and the apostles in the boat, tossed about by the things of this life, having lost. Once Peter took his eyes off of God, he fell. Και αυτό τυχαίνουμε και εμείς. Όταν δεν κοιτάζουμε εμείς το Θεό, όταν έχουμε άλλες ειδήσεις ή βλέπουμε εδώ κάτι εκεί, τι γίνεται, άκουσες Μαριγώ τι έγινε χθες? No, δεν άκουσε η Μαριγώ και δεν θέλει να ξέρει. Μαριγώ is not interested in that. Μαριγώ is not interested in the gossip. Μαριγώ is interested in how we reflect the reality of having ourselves understood as the temple of God. What is it? What is it that will make us the people we're called to be? It will never be our money. Remember the hymn of the church, Panda mataioti sta anthropina. All human things are vanity. They don't accompany us when we're dead. Somebody asked me the other day, Δάσποτα, τι θα γίνουν με όλα αυτά που έχεις? Εγώ θα τα παραδώσω. Δεν είναι δικά μου. Της Εκκλησίας είναι. Somebody asked me, Bishop, what will happen with all these things that you have? They're not mine. I'm not taking them with me. Where are they going to go? They're here for the church. And the next bishop and the bishop after that will have them. Why? Who's going to take all these? Δεν με ενδιαφέρει. Αυτά είναι εδώ για τη δουλειά της Εκκλησίας. These things are here for the work of the church. And so it must be for us. To place our core and our focus on who we are. To recognize that our job is not to always look at, I would put it this way for us, in a very easy way of understanding how to live. When we're at the dinner table, όταν πιάνουμε εμείς κάπου να φάμε, να μην κοιτάζουμε πρώτο το δικό μας πιάτο, αλλά να βοηθήσουμε το διπλανό αν έχει φαγητό στο πιάτο του. When we are, wherever we are, let's not look first at our own issues, but at our neighbor's issue. So that if you and I are sitting at a table, I know I will have plenty to eat, because who's going to put the food on my table? Mr. Randall? Who's going to put the food on my plate? God? No. Who else? You. You're going to look at my plate. You're going to make sure my plate is full. Who's going to look at your plate? I am. That's exactly right. And by taking care of each other, we will, in effect, begin to recognize that we are part of this reality of the temple of God. When we take our eyes off of everything else and focus on Him. The apostles were lost when they feared and looked at thunder and lightning and waves and air. But when they watched the Lord, everything became calm and they were saved. You and I have to recognize that our core, our heart, our essence, that which makes us who we are, is founded and based on God. And if we are willing to take away from church today this message and to start looking at the world and interpreting it as children of God, then the world becomes very different. Because it doesn't become mine, it's all His, and then it's for us to share. Today at the festival, εγώ χαίρομαι πάντα με αυτά τα festival, διότι συνήθως έχουμε την ευκαιρία να ανοίξουμε το σπίτι μας για φιλοξενία. One of the most classic concepts in classical Greece, Mr. Timothy, is? What? Can't hear you. Hospitality, thank you. And the word in Greek? Philoxenia. You got the lesson up here. Okay, the ladies here know. Philoxenia, the most basic concept. And where do we see it even in the Old Testament? Philoxenia to Avram. We find it in the hospitality of Abraham. It is that concept where somebody comes to our house and we offer everything we have. Today, your community is engaging in this ancient idea that this guest stranger, this guest friend, is important and needs to be welcomed in, and by welcoming them in, we too will be doing an act of grace and of mercy. We congratulate you on your festival. We wish you well. We won't keep you too long. We're almost halfway through. God bless you.